Welcome to UTB Blogcast number 42. 42.
It's the answer to everything.
There you go. It's the answer to the question of life. We've got me, Brad. We've got Dave, Erica, and Bartron with the glasses.
Yeah, the glasses of awesomeness.
Well, hey, looking back, go ahead.
I was just thinking that glasses of awesomeness are probably imprinted on the inside of the glasses. When you take them off, you can see it.
They're personalized. Bartron's glasses of awesomeness.
Heads-up display.
Yeah.
Let's see, go back a week, and our main topic of conversation was the RCMP global key BlackBerry blah 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 blah, right?
Yes.
And Dave wrote a post about that, and one of the comments that we kept getting everywhere is, well, we want to hear BlackBerry's take on it. And roll around to Monday, and it was there from John Chen himself on the Inside BlackBerry blog. Kind of nice to see him go straight at it again, wasn't it?
Yep. He seems to, or somebody knows how to handle that. And I mean, seriously, who knows who's actually writing it? And John Chen just goes, yeah, that's good. Because I'm sure he has better things to do than to pen that stuff. But that being said, it's good to have that communication coming from, directly from the man, whether he typed it out himself or not.
Well, like if you go back to the whole Apple encryption battle, the one thing that just kept pissing me off was people talking about this right that they all thought that they had that we've never actually had. That's the one thing to remember, is that has never been one of our rights. We've never been free from investigation, which is exactly what that is calling for. I loved John Chen's first statement here. When it comes to doing the right thing in difficult situations, BlackBerry's guiding principles has always been to do what is right for the citizenry within legal and ethical boundaries. How hard is that to follow? I mean, it came out this week, the actual amount of phones that Apple has opened for the authorities of many different nations over the last year. They had their little transparency paper come out, and it just amazed me that they've opened and gotten information and gathered and allowed all this government information to go out for literally thousands of phones, and then they decided to put a halt to everything and make a media circus out of a phone used by a terrorist. So it's nice to see BlackBerry making a definitive statement as far as what they will or won't do. It's frustrating to see others now believing Apple and Tim Cook, thinking this is a right that we should have, and kind of decrying BlackBerry's statement and their way of handling it.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of feels like a rehash or whatever, but like you say, the point is that if someone, if law enforcement has a good enough reason to go get a warrant to come and search your house, to come and search your car, to abscond with your computers, and go through all the information that are on there, then the fact that this thing is not included in the list of stuff that they can look at is whose idea? Like, who said that? Where did that come from? This is just a mobile version of that computer they hauled out of your house and took to the police station for forensics. So don't give me any crap that just because this thing can text and make phone calls, well, computers can do that too, but just because it's a different size and form factor and I can stick it in my pocket, don't tell me it's exempt from the exact same laws that still exist today and probably will forever, where the cops can come knocking on your door, and even if you don't answer, they can bust it in, hand you a piece of paper, and do what they bloody like.
They can also wiretap. They can wiretap landlines as well. So
sure, that's probably why Dropout Cheap was invented. But you know, it's that is just the way it is. I don't get it. I respect people, good law-abiding citizens. I respect them all. Respect us all for wanting as much privacy as we can garner, which is why I don't use stuff like WhatsApp and Facebook and stuff like that. All the stuff I think I can avoid that's obviously going to abuse me whether I like it or not. That didn't come out right. Anyway,
Safe word.
anyway, I respect all the people, the good law-abiding citizens, for saying that, you know, they want to stand up for people's rights and privacy is king, and you know, but the rah Tim Cook and screw you FBI stuff is going too far. I don't get it.
It's immature.
To it.
It's immature to believe that you have some right to break a law and keep your privacy.
Yeah, I mean, well said. I just don't get it, and people just don't. I don't think that they can expect that on their PC, you know, gathering up all the kiddie porn they can or whatever. But somehow they expect it on their phone. What? It makes no sense at all.
But getting back to BlackBerry and John Chen's response, I personally find it comforting to hear that straight from the head of the company, and it's always nice to see, like Brad was saying, it's always nice to just see them respond and make their stance known and public.
Yeah. And there's, you know, there's a bunch of people that have gone sort of sideways and saying, you know, well, they've got the key, so now they can snoop on me anytime. And I don't know if they said it exactly like that, because I kind of sound like a dick when I just said that. I don't think anybody really knows, and I kind of doubt this, that there's only ever been one key and it's still in existence. It's still being used, the same key over and over again. I kind of don't believe that. So if back in 2010 a key was given out for the specific purpose, do we all think that the exact same key is still being used 6 years later?
No, and it's not a global key, and that it's used for everything that BlackBerry does either. Through our own questioning and asking, we know that there is no key that's used across the board between all of their products. Each product uses its own, I'm not even going to say key, but it uses its own method. So this whole idea of, oh, there's a global key that got into their pin-to-pin messaging and now my BBM is at risk, it's completely false.
Yeah, well, there's still a key, a global key for that, but it's also got a big fat wrapper of TLS around it. So whatever, and you know, anybody who uses BBM protected is out of that picture. Anybody that uses Bez is out of that picture. I don't know, but it got people all riled up, and there's kind of no need.
One of the questions, and you know, and I was looking at the various posts beforehand. One of the questions or comments that was put on a post kind of referred to well, if they're doing it for Canada, they're going to do it for China, they're going to do it for blah, 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 blah. And how are we to know? And you know what? I think that's a ridiculous comment, too. I think that's more fear-mongering. I think it's more of using the arguments that Tim Cook was using. As John Chen put it, and there is a right and a wrong. We all know that. We're all adults. We all know what's right and what's wrong. As a company, they determine what they decide is right and wrong. So if they believe it's right to abide by search warrants, I agree with them, first of all, and they can react to that way. Now, if they believe it's wrong for a government to have unfettered access to keep an eye on their citizens, just like they did in Pakistan, they can say no. And they did say no. And the response to that was to pull their products and services from Pakistan until Pakistan relented. So, I mean, I kind of think, if this is the stance that Tim Cook and Apple wants to take, that they do not want to abide by the laws of a land, in this case the United States, they can make that decision as a company, but leave. It's like you need to abide by the laws of the land if you're going to operate there.
Yeah, move to Ireland where all your money went anyway.
Right.
Ass. See how that goes for you.
My biggest issue since the beginning of this mess, and what I'm seeing actually happen now, and I'm repeating myself, I know from weeks ago, is that the Apple, the WhatsApp, the Facebooks, these are not the companies that should be pushing this fight. I don't want to see them pushing the fight. This is a conversation that needs to take place. It's not a fight that needs to take place, and they're pushing a fight. Whereas companies, these if you want to call them security-minded, encryption-minded, whatever you want to call them, if they want to have this discussion about what's legal and what's not legal, how far do we need to go, what kind of ability do we need to get into our devices and services, that needs to be discussed, and we need to set that line. What's happened is that Apple and now WhatsApp and whoever else wants to join that fray, they haven't had that discussion. They just said, this is what we're going to do, and screw you. And now we're seeing the backlash of it. We're seeing the governments come in and start to write legislation and come up with rules to where they can stop that from happening. So where Apple is saying that they are protecting encryption and our security and our privacy, they're putting it at risk. Because at the end of the day, the government's going to win. And if Apple continues to push this agenda that it's either closed or open and there's no in between, it's going to be open. Now that may work out well for Tim Cook and Apple, because then for the first time ever, they could say their security is on par with their competition, because there won't be security.
I don't know. I just have an issue. I have an issue with companies like Apple and Facebook, especially, who owns WhatsApp, trying to tell me what security is and privacy is when they are the absolute worst offenders. Somebody who has to put suicide nets up around their building is not going to tell me how security works and privacy works, and they don't give a crap. All they care about is money. Facebook, they make their whole living off of using your information. Privacy means nothing to them. So for them to have the unmitigated gall to weigh in on this conversation it's pathetically hilarious. WhatsApp, You care about my privacy, but you share my phone number with everybody. What? It's pathetic to have people like that insinuating that they care about you when that's the last thing on their agenda.
I think it shows how much the whole idea of what privacy and security is has degraded over the years. I think that the entire culture around the conversation has changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's an increasing number of people who don't care, and that feeds right into their, business case.
There's also people that seem to think they care and are obviously clueless. This isn't something that I planned on talking about, but it ties in, and it's funny as heck. Somebody posted in the group earlier today, I think it was Blackjack, that was at the Tor network. Facebook is seeing over, what was it, 1 million visits a month from the Tor network now.
Yeah.
So people are using this privacy network to get onto the biggest travesty of privacy ever.
Yeah, and I'm not sure that clueless is the right word. I think it might be more misguided or uninformed, because I don't know, maybe I'm naive or maybe I'm just a positive person, but I try to believe that people want to be secure and they want to keep their privacy. They just have no clue what they're doing. And they listen to the wrong sources when they try to learn.
I just thought that was funny. I thought that was truly comical. Tor and Facebook should not be in the same sentence.
Tor book.
Let's see some American news this week, since for the first time ever, the Americans are outnumbering the other countries. We were on a half and half until Bartron dropped out and said that he's not coming back. I think Dave offended him.
Yay! I mean, oops. Why? What did I do anyway?
I don't know, but you're the whipping boy, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you.
No, T-Mobile should by now. The people that signed up for the beta, the T-Mobile Priv users, should have got their invite and now have access to the Marshmallow beta. Good news for T-Mobile users. Not good news for me, as I'm still on AT&T.
Oh yeah, picked another loser. Yeah. Anyway.
Hey, I've said for years that my carrier is a loser. There's nothing new there.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this before, but I'm astonished that AT&T being the, they had the exclusive on the device and they're not in the beta. I don't get it. Like, I'd like to slap somebody.
I wonder if maybe they didn't. I mean, there's two sides to it. Is BlackBerry not inviting them to the beta, or is AT&T not allowing their users on the beta? I tend to think it's the second, but if it's the first, it kind of makes you wonder, if AT&T didn't really not push like they should have pushed the Priv. Meanwhile, Laguerre was running around rampant on Twitter, promising and saying that he would do what it took to get the Priv, and him and John Chen sending tweets back and forth with the little Batman Priv that they sent Laguerre. So you wonder if it is on BlackBerry's side, which I kind of doubt. I wonder if that's not the reason for it, that even before T-Mobile had the Priv, they were still doing probably more promotion than AT&T was, just through Laguerre's tweets.
Yeah, not sure. And I popped in there to take a little look today. I didn't see anybody that I wasn't specifically looking for it, but they were included. The T-Mo guys were included with this second wave of the beta, which came out, I think, yesterday. So,
I just wonder,
Anyway, that's a good thing. More people helping out is a good thing.
And then today, AT&T presented a price cut on the Priv. $100 price cut, actually.
Yeah, what did it go down to?
It was, I believe it's...
From what to what?
I put it in here. Was it $6.49?
Oh,
You're not
yeah.
supposed to ask me questions like that, Dave.
Hey, look, if you're going to poke me in the eye, it's coming right around.
You
know what I'm saying?
Yeah, $640. $640 for the full retail price of the Priv on AT&T. What's up, Abby? How you enjoying your breakfast?
Hi, Brad. Good evening. I have to rush to my workplace, but I always, wanted to be part of the fun. It's cool. It's really nice. It's a good feeling to, interact with the like-minded BlackBerry people. I thought I was the only gone case out, but I'm happy to that there are many others like me. It's like finding my own species all around. So
I'm a little worried about who you work with every day now.
That's why I was very keen and very curious to, just air my 2 cents of the story. Hi, Erika.
Hello.
Well, since Abby's here, should we talk about the article that was all the rage in the group? Was it yesterday from IT Business Edge, I believe?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
There's the article that we were all talking about yesterday for IT Business Edge. I believe it was Rob Enderle talking about Microsoft and BlackBerry potentially working together through these 2 other companies and what it could mean for specifically the BlackBerry Priv being used in government agencies.
I cannot really comment on the specifics of what the Department of Defense is going to do over there, but I personally feel that it's a huge win for the company. There are a lot of things that we are not really aware of, a lot of things that are not really written about, and of course BlackBerry has made its mark all over, and BlackBerry has really penetrated the deep, the government networks because of its reliability and security. But I feel that yes, this particular relationship between Microsoft and BlackBerry, even though through their partners, is going to do a good deal to BlackBerry per se. Not really the subject expert on this account yet, to be honest with you. But yes, it's a very good positive news, so as to say, and I'm happy for it.
Well, I found the article kind of interesting because it sort of looked like it was a little bit self-serving, but anyway, it got out there, and I found it interesting that someone would take the tack of talking about 2 disparate kind of companies finding a way to work together and using a third party to be the glue to make apps that weren't necessarily created for the platform, in this case BlackBerry 10, to operate on that platform. Anyway, and the apps in question are like Office 365 and SharePoint. And it was a couple of years ago that I had been searching for a way to get SharePoint on my, I guess at that time it might have been a Z30, because at the office we were dabbling in trying to get it, try and find a use case for SharePoint in our office for document sharing and work sharing and whatnot. And that's when I tripped over this app called Harmony, harmon.ie, and it was the glue between our SharePoint access and BlackBerry 10, and it's a nice little app, actually. It works quite nicely. We ended up not using SharePoint for what we needed to do, and so we found another way to do what we wanted to do using Office 365 and OneNote. But I just found it, interesting that they were kind of talking about how, they went as far as saying that they were thinking that privs were going to invade government heavily and toss out some iDevices, if you know what I'm saying.
Do you want me to read this quote, because this is
read it out.
This just struck me. Honestly, it struck me more as like a Seeking Alpha article or a Motley Fool article where somebody's trying to push an agenda, which in this case it's an agenda that I want to be true. I truly want it to be true, but at the same time, I haven't seen this picked up by anyone else. I haven't seen this repeated anywhere else. But let me read this. He says, I picked up some additional tidbits during the briefing. First, partners are setting up to aggressively support Windows Phone and the BlackBerry Priv. There's no visible demand for the Windows phones, but there has been a substantial demand for the Surface tablets, which both firms report are replacing iPads in mass numbers. This suggests that they are hedging and anticipating the possible success of the rumored Surface phone. Their most requested phone for support is the BlackBerry Priv, however, which is undergoing security certification. Apparently what held it up is that BlackBerry didn't want to have to certify it twice in such a short time. The availability of Android Marshmallow delayed the process, which should be complete shortly. This suggests that there will likely be a rather large number of government employees moving from iPhones to BlackBerry Priv phones by year end. I want that to be true, but I also tend to think that, I wonder, I haven't seen or heard that anywhere else, and I really, we haven't really gone on any fact-finding missions on it. It just kind of popped up yesterday. So what do you think? Could it be true? Could we see, iPhone taking a huge dump in government?
I think
being replaced by the Priv and the Microsoft Surface?
I think that if you want to, let's roll back a sec. There's a reason that BlackBerry's take on Android, currently Lollipop and soon to be Marshmallow, have a secure boot. You're not going to do that and waste your time and your effort and your money doing something like that unless it's for a good reason, and that is to push further into getting FIPS certification for government and the top 500 in business and whatnot, large banks, etc. What's the point? If it's there for a reason. So I completely believe that the delay in this happening is because of the Marshmallow. Where was I going with that? Yeah, Marshmallow needs to come out with its secure boot and be available for all devices. As soon as the beta is over, that's going to be a real thing, and that's going to help getting higher certifications for things like DoD, government, whatever. And it's not going to be as high as the FIPS certification that BlackBerry 10 holds, but it's on its way up there. So iPhones and iOS devices can't be used in the same situations that require BlackBerry 10 type security. So anything else that can get up there is what these people want. So I believe in what he's saying. I have no idea about the numbers. Is it 49 of them, or is it 10,549 of them? I don't know. That's the big question, right? That's what you're getting at, Brad. But the fact that you can have choices, and this other device, the Priv, which in this particular case can run native SharePoint and Office 365 things, for sure you're going to want that before you want an iThingy, which can't be certified.
I think this Android for work and Google is going to depreciate it subsequently and push BlackBerry Priv into the enterprises in a big way, because Google has been wanting to make massive inroads in the government sector, because and that is where the big money is. The long-term contracts is the government will not change the device with the next release. So they are looking for a very long-term solution, and that is the reason why I feel that this is a pretty huge win-win situation for BlackBerry and Microsoft. And Microsoft, mind you, also has very deep inroads in the government setup, be it US, be it India, or any of the countries across. So this particular kind of a partnership is going to be rolled out onto the other markets. It's a matter of conjecture, no doubt, but I feel that is a very, very positive thing.
Yep.
And absolutely no doubt, this Marshmallow update coming on it's absolutely fabulous. They have ironed out all the things that were there with the previous version. I'm not going into the details, but they are just nailing the whole Android experience, so as to say. It is not that the BlackBerry 10 can be, and BlackBerry 10 had its own charm. It is still cannot be supplanted by anything else on the planet, no doubt about it. But Priv is coming close and close and close to it. And I'm sure that they will nail it really well. So there's always hope.
And watch what happens, you know, when a less expensive Android-based BlackBerry handset comes out, and then, you know, it'll have the same security qualifications that the Priv is going to get, and then that'll be the kind of thing that'll find its way more into a lot of hands in you know, the government and whatnot. They can put out to the masses and be more secure than you know, considering the iPhone SE or an older 5C or so. Well, seriously, people are looking at it, right? Everybody cares about how much money they're going to spend, and a Priv is not cheap, even if they did get $100 off at AT&T. But you know, when you're talking about buying multiple thousands of handsets, what are you concerned about?
I'm concerned at how the community will react to it, because we know the reason why you need to have more moderately priced devices. But I also look back at when the Leap was released, how the community reacted, and it almost with a spite that this affordable device made for a specific market was released when all they wanted was a flagship with specs that BlackBerry 10 just didn't need, or doesn't need still to this day. So I mean, what concerns me is when a moderately priced Android BlackBerry phone comes out, I believe there will be a market for it. I believe there'll be a great market for it, especially if what this guy's reporting is true. But how will our neighbors and our community react to it? God, I hope it's not the same amount of spite that the Leap received.
Yeah, I think there was an awful lot of people that were wanting a killer Z30 replacement. You know, I mean, today I can pick up a Z30 and go, yeah, I still love this thing because it's awesome. And personally, I don't. Well, if someone handed you another BlackBerry 10 device with super specs on it, you'd love it anyway. But you know, anyway, that didn't come, and the Leap came out, and it is almost as capable in features as a Z30, and has similar or better processing specs, I think. And it's a great phone, but for some reason, like you say, Brad, it's kind of got panned or dissed or I don't know what. Too bad. It's a good phone.
I personally feel that when this mid-range device is going to come down, I do echo Brad's sentiments over here. The problem with the Android market is that everybody starts comparing the whole thing on the specifications. The chipset, the RAM, this memory, and whatnot. But nobody looks at the operating system. Nobody's bothered about how it works out in the long run, how it is going to be the value for money. What is the total cost of ownership for that device? I mean, I'm using an old Z30, which is almost 4 years old. I bought it out, and it is still running perfectly fine. I mean, I don't see any lag. I don't see any problem with the camera, or I don't see any problem with the whole usage per se. But nobody in the media, nobody in the blogs, or nobody so-called fan sites ever talks about the total cost of ownership and what is the value for money that BlackBerry brings to you. So if you invest money now in PRIB, or you invest money in any of the BlackBerry devices, it is still going to run strong. If it falls down, if it, the day-to-day use or whatnot, it still holds solid. My PRIB has fallen down 3 times and it's working without a scratch. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And herein lies a rub. People have to understand. Through this medium, I'm just trying to get hold to everybody that the operating system, the day-to-day use of that device, how the battery runs, how the device holds up in crunch situations, that is what is going to be the differentiator. You cannot ever compare a high-end PRIB device next to what China market churns out for its masses. For that reason, what the Indian market churns out for is this thing. And I was surprised to read that there's a company which is marketing its phones as super phones. Initially, they came out with a very, very interesting moniker called as flagship phones. I mean, all kinds of marketing stunts are being sold, and what do they have to offer? They have a very plastically, metally kind of a back, and some kind of Android with their own overlays of God knows what all roadway that they have. And why not look at the simplicity or the security aspect of BlackBerry? I have zero idea. I mean, this kind of logic totally eludes me. So
Yeah.
yes. So Brad, I totally echo your sentiments, and over a period of time, I think the iPhone is going to win amongst the masses, and BlackBerry is going to, take the niche, the people who think and people who want to get the things done. So as to say.
I've been saying for 5 years now that Apple is going to meet their end. That the iPhone killer will be the iPhone, and man, it sure looks like it's happening right now. Did you see their projected numbers and the drop in the sales that they had over this last quarter?
I don't remember what the numbers are. Are they doing their call on Tuesday, is it? Or I forget. But it's not a lot of people
I don't know, but it was quite a drop. It's like I think they've finally done themselves in. I've been saying it for years. This might be the time I'm right.
Yeah. Even a broken clock is right twice a day, buddy.
Yeah, it's about time.
All the used iPhones from US are coming to India, by the way. There's a huge market for refurbished stuff. And,
Really?
They are so desperate to sell any kind of a device in India, because India is a very price-sensitive market. And I've seen the iPhones even in the hands of laborers or like pretty low-end kind of a thing. And I was feeling very like anybody and everybody is using an iPhone. What is your differentiator? What is it that differentiates you? Because phone is now equated with a social class. and that's what it is. They are
You know what?
they are down.
That's a perfect transition right there, Abby, because that's something that we spoke about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You know, the iPhone is supposedly the phone of the hipsters, right? We made fun of that for years. But the iPhone is also the phone of grandma. It's the phone of 7-year-old Nancy across the street. It's the phone of, you know, your doctor and your janitor. Everybody's got it. Everybody. Those of us that don't have it could easily have it. You know, I spent a fair amount more money on my Priv than if I would have taken the deals that were offered to me on the iPhone. So nobody can say it's like, oh, you know, you don't have an iPhone because you can't afford it. No, I could have walked out of the AT&T store that day paying only tax on the iPhone. You know, I paid $700 on my BlackBerry. So we need to start looking at our phones as what they are. It is a differentiator. That's a perfect term that you used. And it's a premier phone. You know, it's not a phone that I'm going to walk down the street and see 7-year-old Nancy wearing or using, or grandma using, or so-and-so using. You know, it's mine. I'm special. You're not. That's the way I want to look at it. And that's the way that BlackBerry users need to start doing it, because the minute we start taking back our identity and placing these phones on the platform that they were when we first got into them, which were the premier business phones, that's when other people start taking notice.
Well, Brad, we already knew you were special. But when you got your $700 Priv, we promoted you to extra special. So, congrats, buddy.
I got the special seat in the little bus.
You do.
I'm getting this Priv live. You know, I want to do a celebrity endorsement for this. I mean, look at the beauty, the screen, the slide out keyboard. You know, it's just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing. I mean, how can you not get excited about, wow, Priv? It is just, ooh, it's too
The
good.
only reason I don't get excited for my Priv
What was in that
my
bowl,
passport.
Abby? The hell have you been eating?
I am getting that one also. Don't worry. It's just in the this thing courier service. It's been couriered to me. Don't worry.
Okay, I'm just checking. You seem a little bit
Glad I
jolly there, but
I need to take leave. I have my work. So thanks for having me here, and you guys keep on rocking. We'll be getting back in touch on the chat again. Take care. Bye.
all right, Abby, have a good one, man.
See you later.
Thank you. Bye, Erica. Bye.
Yeah. Well, did we beat up that secret strategy story enough, or?
I think so. And we even threw a couple more stories in. We actually, with a small group of us, we raced through this stuff. We easily had enough topics to go 2 hours if we had a whole cast tonight.
Maybe we're just talking too fast. You think we're talking too fast? I'm not talking too fast. Am I talking too fast? I don't know.
You know what? Do you have anything else you want to go over, Dave?
Not a lot. Well, I threw out the idea that maybe we could talk about what Facebook did this week, and I hate Facebook.
Oh yeah, go for it. And then when you're done, I think Erica and I need to have a conversation about certain things going on with certain sites that are UTB related.
Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, I don't know too much. I don't have any experience with it because I'm not into Facebook much, but people might know or not know that Facebook rolled out group calling, like in Messenger, I believe, and I've never used it. You could do voice and video calling, but group calling just got rolled out. So now Facebook can tell, how often you call this group of people, and so they can use that information to give you more ads and this and that and the other thing. I hate you, Facebook. Just in case you didn't know. And what else did they say? Oh yeah, they're rolling out the platform where Facebook recognizes how much time you spend reading certain articles and things in your timeline, I guess. And they're now going to tailor your view so that they bring up more things like that, stuff that you spent time on. So I kind of look at that as using the same kind of ideas like Spotify and Pandora, I guess, or whatever for music. Like they start suggesting, oh, you like this kind of music and that kind of band? Well, maybe you're going to like this kind of music and that kind of band. And so I think that's sort of what they are doing here. And I don't know why I hate them so much for it, but I just do. So there.
It's because they're scraping your information again. That's why.
Yeah,
that's exactly why.
Yeah, and maybe I'm being ignorant, and the Spotifys and Pandoras of this world, or whomever, are doing that to me too, and I just don't know it. And maybe it's because I like music so much more than I like Facebook because I hate Facebook. Maybe I just not interested in. Okay, that's a task for me. I'm going to investigate that. What do they do with that information?
It's the all-enveloping information that bothers me. You know what? If I'm using a music app and it's paying attention to the music I'm streaming and suggesting other music for me to listen to, that's cool. I'm okay with that. That's information that I choose to allow them to have, and they're using it for something I might enjoy. What I don't like is when my Android phone that I use for BBM and blogging and stuff like that suddenly tells me how much time it's going to take me to get home because this is the time that I normally drive home from work. That is eerie stuff.
It's eerie, both those words. There's only one letter different. Well, there's an additional letter and a different one. But anyway, I digress. That's horrifying. Personally horrifying. That got one of my buddies at work off of his Android phone and onto a BB10Z30. Thank you very much. Interestingly enough, there was, I think, and I hate saying this, there was like 3 apps that he absolutely had to have, and because of Google Play services, he went back on his Android phone, which I think was a Note 2, and then promptly got back on the Z30 because he's selling the Note 2 to somebody else. So win, lose, win. But anyway, yeah, it's creepy, and he was such an Android guy for the longest time. Yours truly converted him. It's for someone like that to have that aha moment like you, Brad. Those are telling things, very telling.
Can we all just hope that Facebook will kill Facebook, much like we hope iPhone kills iPhone?
Well, thank you for saying that. I mean, yeah, I hope it goes the way of MySpace. What's that?
I keep expecting.
What's MySpace, Dave? Exactly.
I keep expecting Tom from MySpace to become everybody's friends on Facebook, and then and then slowly MySpace take it back over.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, that's my sad rant on Facebook, and I have so many people that I associate with in many other ways through music and friends and whatnot that are on Facebook, and I don't want to go there. And even in my latest hobby with quadcopters or drones, if you want to call them that, there's a hugely active group dedicated to the machine I'm using, and it's incredibly active there on Facebook, and I just don't want to go there. I don't want to go there.
I'm hoping to get the next generation off of Facebook by slowly getting all of my daughter's friends onto BBM. My daughter's
Exactly.
already converted 2 of her best friends to BBM, and I'm hoping we can keep that trend going and keep
channels, man. Use channels.
That's what I was going to say.
Private channels, public channels. Invite your friends. Nobody goes there unless you invite them.
Well, my daughters are too young for anything public, but they do have a group for their friends to chat with.
Yeah. I even suggested it to a prospective customer. You know, they were having problems trying to let all their customers know about this, that, and the other thing, and trying to text them. And I go, everybody has a smartphone. Just get BBM, create a channel, and let everybody know. Done. See ya.
There was an article earlier this week about using BBM for dating, and it was a great article. And if you guys should be able to verify this. This is something that I wanted to do. Wanted to do a UTB spotlight on BBM, looking at it from various standpoints. Hopefully we can still do that someday, but we don't seem to have many volunteers for it. But like the whole dating aspect, the whole dating aspect, or Erica's children aspect, there was one gaping hole in that article, which was a great article. I agreed with it 100%. It's awesome that they thought of it that way. But they left out BBM channels, which for someone on the single scene or Erica's children, it's a perfect social network, because like you said, Erica, you don't want them doing anything public. Well, you've got these private channels where they can only invite their friends, and it gives them an opportunity to post things and leave things to where it's not necessarily in a moment of conversation. You know, it's like, this is us at Chuck E. Cheese, or this is us at, whatever. Same thing for people on the dating scene. They could have multiple profiles. You could have your, single Brad could have, here's my down home, I'm a family guy, here's all the family things I do channel that, I invite those girls to. Then I could have, hey, I'm a party guy, blah, 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 here's that channel I can invite those girls to. And they will never see the other channel, right?
Yeah.
So, there's so many different ways.
This is Brad's I'm married channel. And this is Brad's I'm not married channel. Okay, then.
And anyone know a good lawyer
out there?
But
I get what you're putting.
Yeah, there's so many great ways that can be used, and I'd love to go into that further at some point. That was the whole point of the ping me. It's just finding time. But yeah, I love channels. People get upset. It's not very feature rich. There's still areas that they can improve on. It's true. But one of the things I love about it is that it is pretty simple. It's made for mobile. Like most of these social networks, they've kind of outgrown their usefulness by adding too much to it.
And it's kind of a closed-circuit network where you're not worried about all your information just filtering out into the airwaves, so to speak.
Yeah,
exactly.
I often, not often, I started wondering, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, what the ratio of public and private channels has grown to be. So how old is channels? Is it 3 years old?
About, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
something like that. I remember, funny sidebar story, when I first heard Channels was coming out and I got involved in the beta for it, I instantly created 30-something channels.
Branding, right?
I branded my ass off. I created a McDonald's channel, a Ford channel, a Toyota channel, a Gibson guitar channel, you name it channel, whatever I thought was popular, I made a channel for it because I'm saving my spot, right? Like getting a, getting a URL, a domain name. Yeah, that's right, Brad. So, like having www.gibsonguitars.com or whatever it is, I put my placeholder in anything I could think of. And I carried those channels for, I don't know, a year until I realized that the way BlackBerry handled it, which was brilliant, was that you cannot own a domain inside their channels. You just can't. And I had subscribers of the yin yang for all these channels that were never going to do anything. McDonald's. Oh yeah. In any case, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, I'm just very curious about how private channels and public channels, what the percentage is now. Because I'm sure private channels were way down there, and then we all know how much fun it is to manage comments from all over the planet, and so that made me think. I wonder where private channels is now compared to public channels, invite only type deal. What do you guys think about that? Have we? I know that there's millions and millions of channel subscribers. Probably 20 or I don't know how many millions of channel subscribers there are. But I wonder what the percentage is between private and public now. Because it would have been zero.
I mean, the private channels are just so useful, and I don't think people are understanding that. We have a private channel for UTB. It's where we can send out the how-tos of what, our own little rules, our internal rules. And it really is easier
Which
to
are made to be broken.
information.
Just saying, rules are made to be broken.
That's how you get posts pulled. But but I mean, it really is, like, for a business, it would be so awesome to just have a private channel. You need to get information out to your employees. Throw it on the channel.
Right.
Everybody gets it.
Yeah, and there is
no
smartphone made that can't do it. So, it's easy. Use it. Hey, business people, use it. Use it internally. Use it externally. Use it. BBM channels. Rocks.
Well, we're almost out of time, and we went through all of our topics pretty darn fast. So I feel safe in throwing some non-BlackBerry stuff on here.
Do it.
I like podcasts.
Yeah, you do. It's almost like going to a podcast AA meeting or something here.
I listen to them nonstop. I drive about 2 hours a day, and there comes a point where you get tired of listening to your music. And when that happens, podcasts are great. And I rarely listen to music anymore. I subscribe to a lot of podcasts. And when we started doing the blogcast, figured out a way to publish it and figure out a way to rip the audio from it and put it up as an actual audio podcast, which is my favorite. So, like, I never go back and rewatch our videos. I never do. I always go back and listen to the audio, and I end up finding out that I missed a lot.
The only ones I go back and rewatch are the ones with you without your hat.
Oh yeah, those are when I forget to put the hat on because Robert makes fun of my hair, so I have to wear the hat.
Yeah.
But so once we did that and got that figured out, I figured out how we could like host the podcast, and I've been after everybody in our group to start a podcast, and only one person took me up on it, which was Erica, who started Geek E.
I'm
Erica
scared.
actually
Yay,
talks.
Erica.
Yeah.
Excuse me. In the last week or so, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, I talked to one of my longtime buddies, someone not in this community for sure. In fact, he's using, I'm not even going to talk about what type of phone he's
Don't
using.
even say it.
I'll get him.
No.
I'll get him switched over at some point in time.
We'll
Well,
save
I
for
can tell
later.
you it's not an iPhone. It's not an iPhone. But yeah, so we started our podcast. So now we've got 3 podcasts on our network, and there's another group of people that may speak a little different than us that should be recording their own podcast. Hopefully they did it today. So that would be 4 podcasts on our network. So our back-end site that we've never really made public, but what hosts our podcasts, UTBnet.works. See what I did there? It's UTB Networks. We're very close to having what I would consider an actual podcast network, and I'm excited about it. I want five series of podcasts. I figure if we have 5 series of podcasts, then I can listen to a podcast, every day I work and be one happy camper.
Well, first of all, you're not a camper. Second of all, you're forgetting that it's growing, and it wormed its way into Google Play, Google Music, or not music, but the casts are finding their way there, which is really cool. And I know you're trying to make me publicly feel guilty about not doing a podcast. You have.
Well, you like to talk so damn much, Dave.
Really? Do I?
You're made for a podcast.
Okay, look, man. The only reason... Okay, yeah. You got me. Me and a microphone. Yeah, up on stage. I'm the babbling idiot.
The only person I didn't want on a podcast is me, and I'm on 2 of them. So, so there. So, hey, there you go. Erica and I are on 2 each. What about you, Dave?
Yay.
Huh, Dave?
I don't know.
Yeah, so like Erica and I are on the UTB Blogcast. We also have a geek podcast. Both of our other podcasts are geek podcasts on the UTB Geek site. And like Dave said, they can be found on the Google Play Music now if it's already rolled out to your phone. It hasn't rolled out to my phone yet. We're on Nobex, and then they can be subscribed to via RSS no matter which podcatcher you use.
And I'm on Stitcher.
You can't find us on iTunes. That's right, you're on Stitcher. My stuff's not on Stitcher.
Yeah.
You can't find us on iTunes because you have to download iTunes to get on iTunes, and I'm not going to do that.
Not this cowboy.
Yeah.
We don't need no sticking iTunes.
No, I hate that crap.
Right.
That was my initial introduction to Apple hate was iTunes. I hated it. Therefore, I never bought any Apple devices ever. Anyway,
well, I just wanted to talk about our podcast and throw it out there that we have a whole other site. Actually, we have 2 whole other sites. If people haven't noticed UTB Geek, there's UTB Geek, and there's also UTB Networks, UTBnet.works. And if there's anybody really interested in podcasting, get in contact with me.
yeah.
Yeah, and if you sit here and watch or listen to this blogcast and you're like, why doesn't Erica ever speak? She needs to talk more. Just go listen to my own podcast.
Yeah.
I talk all the time there.
She does.
There you go. And on top of that, if my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. But if you want a podcast out of me, the subjects could only be guitar/music, quadcopters or drones, or what? Voice over IP technology, or maybe cooking. So if you want
to just call it Dave's World and party on.
Yeah, if you want a podcast about that, then let me know. Otherwise, boy, do I have lots of shit to do. I mean, stuff.
We could call it Cooking and Cursing with Dave.
Oh yes, the 3
But
C's.
honestly, I'm throwing it out there. If there's any wannabe podcasters that have thought about it before, but didn't want to deal with finding a host and all that fun stuff, we can help. If you enjoy listening to podcasts, we have 3 of them going right now, with a 4th hopefully on its way. And if this is your only experience with podcasts, the Blogcast, I feel bad for you, and go try the other one.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And if you're a closet geek, please come talk to me because we can do a show together.
Yeah.
There you go.
You're always welcome to come out of the closet.
Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with coming out of the closet as a geek or anything.
And there's our life lesson for the day.
Dave's straight face, waiting for somebody to break out in laughter, and it didn't work.
We've talked BlackBerry, we've promoted our other sites, and we've given a life lesson. I think we're good.
Okay, we're out.
All right, good night.
Good night.